Hello and welcome back to the 90s Mad Podcast, your podcast for all things Newcastle United, hosted by three lifelong Newcastle United supporting buddies. Myself, D-Man, joined as usual by my co-hosts AC and Jefferson. You guys good?
What up, what up, what up?
Good evening. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Feels a bit strange that the Premier League season is done. You know, Champions League's over. There's still more football to come, but it's just not the same, is it? It's not the same. But
What a win! What a win, by the way. PSG.
oh yeah, great win.
That was
Scintillating.
that was entertainment at its finest. What a performance!
The team I wanted to win slapped up Inter Milan. Yeah, 5-0, biggest win in Champions League history in a final. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, get involved in the chat. I can see we've got Adrian and Scant in the building. Big up, lads. Hope you're both doing good. Hope you're both doing good.
What's up?
But yeah, we've got a lot to cover today. We're going to do a review of the Newcastle United season. We're going to talk about the highs and lows, play of the season, give our thoughts on Eddie Howe, our favourite moments, and then we'll talk about the team of the season. We'll do a team of the season for all the Premier League teams involved, and if we can squeeze in the latest news about our transfer or lack of transfer activity, which a lot of people are either pissed about or just brushing us about. So, yeah, if you don't know, Mbromo has chosen Manchester United over us. No matter how much we dress it up, we were in for him and he chose elsewhere. So I don't care what anyone's saying about, we weren't interested in anyone, our top target. We'll get into that anyway. But
money talks, I guess.
Yeah. Big up William in the building as well. But yeah, I know Scats is ready for the pot. Listen, Scats, you're gonna have to wait a little bit, yeah? You have to wait a little bit for that.
Allow us for now, please, G.
But yeah, listen, let's get to the nitty-gritty, right? Let's talk about Newcastle United first, because obviously the season's finished. We talked about the last game of the season last week. But we're going to talk about the season as a whole because, you know, we've ended up qualifying for Champions League in 5th place. We've got the trophy, our first major trophy in over 70 years, or whatever it is. You know, we got the monkey off our back, beating Liverpool in that final. So overall, very good, a great season. But let's take it back to our original predictions from the start. I don't know if you can remember yours, whatever. I'm going to start with AC. What did you predict?
I knew you clicked over me. Go on.
What did you predict when we finished in the league?
So first of all, I want to give context. When this prediction was made, summer window wasn't finished yet. So we were in that situation where the window was still active. We had some hopes and dreams
of finished for us
coming in. Because my prediction, I said that we would finish 3rd. And people thought I was crazy. I remember there's a exact clip of you being like, with what squad? Finishing 3rd. But then it's funny saying that now, looking back at it, because we could have. We were quite close in the end. In fact, we could have finished 2nd if we beat Arsenal coming close to the end of the season there. But yeah, I knew it was a big high hopes and dreams because mainly with my prediction, I think the backbone towards it and a lot of conversation we had at the time was that we were approaching a season where we wasn't going to be having any Europe competition. We had the league and we had domestic cups. And because of that, and because of the previous season with the Champions League and how much we run ourselves into the ground, we thought that with a lot more, let's say, rest for the players and the squad and such, we should be able to take advantage and almost leapfrog over certain teams who may struggle, because part of my prediction was thinking that Villa might have struggled, which they did a little bit, to be honest. So I was kind of right in that respect. And also as well, I thought that we would add a more firepower into our Arsenal. That's not a pun for Arsenal, but yes. But 3rd, that's where I thought we would finish. But obviously we didn't. We ended up finishing 5th. But it's an interesting season because as well, I guess at the start of the season, we had no idea that 5th spot could be open for Champions League as well, which is another discussion completely, which I think we need to talk about as well, because, you know, it's part of the discussion.
Big up Waffle.tv, big up Kante. As Waffle said, hit up the likes and that. Yeah, we might have to get you on as a mod. Yeah. You might be have to be. There might be a slot opening up for you, my friend. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
Mob me up.
Big up Mighty Mag as well.
Big up Mighty Mag. What's going on?
But Scants also said he had us 4th or 5th at the beginning of the season because of the 1 game a week.
Yeah,
I actually predicted 4th, I believe. And like AC said, this was before the transfer window was done. Well, it was done for us, to be fair. We didn't know that at the time. But yeah, I thought, with the lack of Champions League football, no Europe, 1 game a week, I thought we had a squad good enough to compete for the top 4, and that was the best we'd achieved. Like I said, little did we know, coming into the penultimate week, we could have got 2nd, and even in the final game, we could have got 3rd. But our form tailed off towards the end, a bit tired, a bit jaded, and some other reasons, but it just didn't happen. But we got the 5th spot, like AC said, we didn't know at the time it would be Champions League, but I didn't think we'd get 5th spot and a trophy. I don't think any of us actually predicted we get a trophy either. So that was a big one for us.
That was a big surprise.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll get into the nitty gritty. But overall, a very good season for us. Let's hope we build on from there. But yeah, I predicted 4th. Jefferson?
I put 5 on it.
He predicted 5th, didn't he?
You got it right.
Come on, lads, pay up. Come on, sort it out. Where's my winning?
Jefferson was right.
You know what I'm saying?
Jefferson was right.
I wish I put money on it, man. Now I wouldn't say I fluked it, but I think like AC touched on, there was a couple of things that cropped up over the season that we didn't anticipate. And the reason I predicted 5th was similar to what Scants was talking about. We had the advantage of not being in Europe. So there's an opportunity there for our squad to be fresher. But the other thing was, what people didn't realize, and this is why I came into this season already on edge with the manager, was that we were so close the season before, despite all the injuries. So we talked about this before. Bruno having to play with a young Lewis Miley and Longstaff next to him, right? The team having 13 outfield players injured, or 13 players injured, managed to get into the final 4 weeks of the season, or was it 3 weeks of the season, with 6 games to go, or was it 5 games to go? I can't remember. It was really touching. We lost it with like 3 games to go that we could have finished 6th. And then when you looked at the table, everyone was going on about Aston Villa this, Aston Villa that. We actually finished 8 points off 4th with the injury depleted squad. So I thought, okay, if we've got everybody back fully fit and no Europe, we should definitely be top 6. And I anticipated 5th, but I didn't know there would be the Champions League caveat placed there. So that was my thinking behind it.
Okay, so all right. So obviously Jefferson got his prediction right. Let's talk about, first of all, I see Waffle asked a question about would you keep Callum Wilson? He clearly loves the club. No. If it's a page you play like we offered him, and we get a second striker, could consider it. Other than that, get rid of him.
We love Wilson.
Yeah, we
love Wilson. We love Wilson. We're big fans of Wilson, but I think
nostalgia has to stop.
Yeah, sentiment. You can't get too far with it. We have to move on and put the money elsewhere with someone who's going to be fit to play.
Like William said, love ain't enough. Yeah, love is not enough, and it's true. It's true.
Put that on the
t-shirt. But let's talk about the in terms of the season itself. We're going to talk about the highs and lows of the season, right? So let's talk about the lows first, right? Because how were you guys feeling after those first 15 games, which Jefferson does love to allude to, right? Those first 15 games, the way we were playing, the results we were getting, the fact that Isak wasn't really scoring at the time, we ain't creating many chances. What did you think? How did you think our season was going to go after what was your feeling during those 15 games? How do you think the season was going to play out, Jefferson?
Maybe, at best 7th, 8th sort of territory again, because whether we were getting the odd win or draw, it was more about the performances. And it looked like no matter what changes Eddie made to the team, they weren't as effective. It looked quite scatty at times, but it also looked at times like he'd almost lost the dressing room a little bit, particularly Fulham away. And I think Wolves away was just a messy game. And as for Bournemouth, we got life in that game, and that we saw players arguing on the pitch. I've talked about it before on this channel and on another channel. Particularly, we talked about it with Isak and Longstaff sort of shouting at each other. So it looked like he kind of lost the dressing room a little bit as well. Which one thing we had to say is that they were always behind the manager. So you had that, plus the performance dips, and then the results weren't quite matching up to where we should have been coming into this season.
I thought after the first talk, I think we were sitting in 12th after the first 15 games.
Yes, we were.
Yeah, and it kind of brought me back to not the darkest days, but the dark days of Newcastle, supporting Newcastle, mid-table obscurity. You're not going to go down, but you're not going to challenge or anything. The football wasn't great. We weren't scoring many goals. It was just depressing to watch. And the frustrating thing was that, listen, we were itching for Tonali to come back. We knew that he'd face the first month of the season out because of the ban. But come October, he'd be back. But the frustration was there because he refused to start this brother. Yeah? Refused to start him. And when he did start him, he started in the 8th position. And, Longstaff was getting too many minutes over Tonali. And it was just so frustrating, like, to the point where that was when we were all Eddie out. Yeah, we was like, had enough of this guy. It's not working. He's too stubborn. We're playing rubbish. We're not getting results. We may be on that chopping block. He said maybe on the chopping block. And we said, he's got a few more games to save himself, or the writing's on the wall. But yeah, those first 15 games make me realize that we cannot have another 15 games like that going into next season. It can't happen. It can't happen. AC, anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, I think those first 15 games, some of those games were really hard to watch. The performances were just subpar, and it was almost like, we're going to have a season where we're starting off quite slow. Do you remember the first 5 games? We were like struggling against Southampton. Remember that first game? That's our first game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was a bit
Share got sent off.
I was like,
Southampton should have beaten us. They created so many shots.
It was just like, maybe we're starting off quite slow, and it's one of those seasons where, like, you may rather take us starting slow than finishing strong. We see a lot of teams start really strong and finish really badly because they run out of gas towards the end. But yeah, I think, to be honest, and we criticized Howe a lot, and we had to right to. And I think this is the point when we were saying across to the fan base as well, everyone has the right to criticize, because at a particular time, the patterns were so evident that, like, I talk about the substitutions, but this is the era of what is happening, where, like, he wouldn't make any changes until we started losing. And, like, very stubborn with who he was playing. We had Tonali. It was actually criminal when you look back at it. I know we talk about it a lot. It's almost that we will never forgive you for those moments. But, I will never forget we had, like, the thought of even thinking that he was on bench is just sickening, man. It's absolutely sickening. And when we're into our position, honestly, looking ahead to those December fixtures and such, I thought to myself, I can't see us making it, because we almost left it too late. And we know that in December, the fixtures are congestion around Boxing Day and before Christmas. It's too much. And I feel like the team weren't able to make it through. But credit there to Howe, because obviously that's when the turning point happens, which the turning point no one could predict. And I don't want to, some fans might come out and be like, I always had faith in Eddie Howe, he'll turn it around. I'm like, no. Remember back in that particular point? Everyone was bricking it. We were looking at the Leicester game like, no, we can't see us beating the Leicester. Right?
We have to, we must win. Yeah.
Yeah. But I know certain people try to call me out on my prediction on that, because I predicted us to lose in that. And, and I don't really predict losses, but at a particular time, it is what it is. I know sometimes people like to pull out predictions from the past and be like, oh, you predicted that. But it's like, context is everything, because at a particular time, we couldn't see ourselves winning because we were all over the place.
Big up Steve.
Players as well. I think the players, because you could see the anguish on the players, isn't it?
Well, just on that, apparently Bruno and Tonali, they went to Eddie Howe and said, look, because the whole thing with Eddie Howe was like, he was thinking that they couldn't play together, right? And a lot of the media was saying the same thing, they couldn't play together, blah, blah, whatever. And they actually knocked on his door and said, look, we can play together, give us a chance, whatever. And I don't know who suggested putting Tonali in the 6, but it eventually happened, and that's when we started going on that mad run. Big up Stephen, who's locked in, by the way. And William made a good point. He said he sat Bruno way too long before giving his first start too, and that's what Eddie Howe does. And again, that's something that has to change.
He had to score a backheel volley before he realised, oh man, this guy's good enough.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
that was at Southampton. I was actually at that game as well, so I saw that in the flesh.
Yeah,
that was a moment, man. That was a moment.
But like you alluded to, AC, then came the 9-game winning streak, which nobody could foresee. And our best run in the league, beating the likes of Aston Villa, Man United, Chelsea, Brentford. Who else was there? Can't remember who it was. Tottenham.
Beat Tottenham. Remember
Leicester, Ipswich, the likes of that. But that's what really propelled us and gave us the belief. Because some was in the cup, but it gave us the belief that we actually a decent team. We're actually a good team. Isak went on that mad scoring run as well. So credit how to making those changes. And this is when we really saw that Murphy come to the forefront as well with his his talent.
That was then all of a sudden Murphy started wearing the cape. It's incredible, really, because in that stint of like the first 50 games, Murphy was just like invisible. I don't remember seeing Murphy doing anything. We almost like playing without a right winger at most games. Do you remember? We were just
yeah. We were trying Joe Linton on the right certain times. You know what I mean?
On the right, but also we were almost just like looking towards like Gordon produce something, like Isak produce. There's almost like only outlet, and it's quite funny how like Murphy kicked in, and I don't know if it's like how said like Murphy almost like believe in yourself here, like push forward kind of thing, and boy did he push forward.
Oh, and Scans have come and say, Murphy, you want to replace this summer. It's not about replacing him, Scan. Yeah, it's about we need if we're playing in the Champions League, right? Murphy has had a great run, right? But you cannot tell me that Murphy's a Champions League quality player, right? And no one wants to see Murphy be sold, by the way, right? It's about squad depth, competition for places, right? And variety of player. Right, so Murphy, we know what Murphy's good at, but we also know his limitations, right? So we need an upgrade, right? That's what good teams do. They get better, they buy better, or they develop better. If they're going to progress, right?
Sorry to interrupt as well. Just to say, I think he'll be an excellent squad player, Murphy. I think he'll be really good, and I think he will. He's definitely a player who's got obviously the right attitude that if someone else was to come in and all of a sudden he's second best on that right wing, he wouldn't have any attitude around it. He'll just get on with it. He'll happily just like still be part of the team.
And it'll push him to be better as well. So
he'll learn off that person who's playing the right wing as well.
Big up Smokey's niche, who's locked in as well. We're talking. He's talking about the in Bremo to Man United, which we will discuss towards the end of the show as well. William has said, Howe gets credit for getting us to where we are, but I'm in a minority that I don't think he'll take us much further. We'll touch on Eddie Howe a bit later.
I haven't paid him, I promise. I haven't paid him.
It's Jefferson's burner account.
There's a new villain in the house.
Jefferson's got a burner account. Was that Tiger? Tiger, is that you?
Yeah,
it might be Tiger transformed, didn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, listen, we went on that run now. And in that run, we had the 2 games against Arsenal as well, which was really good. And then obviously we finished the season pretty strong because after the cup win, we finished the season strong enough to finish 5th, right? So what I'm going to ask you guys, right? What is in terms of the league? What are your highs in the league season? So I'll start with you, AC.
For me, my highs, it has to be the semi-final against Arsenal.
No, league. In the league.
Damn it, man. Damn it.
That's too easy, man. It's too
easy, isn't it? It's too easy. For me, I told you at the time I wear it proudly on my chest, on my shirt, that scalp at Man United. I'll talk about it for days, man. that was a big one, man, for me, because I was just like, historically at Old Trafford, we don't do too well there. And I think it was one of those seasons, definitely, when we look back at it, it was a season of end of errors. we cancelled some like mythical busters against our club and stuff of like, we don't get results here, we never do well there, and we just like turn the results around. But that result of Man United, that really almost like separated ourselves from Man United completely, because I think they were spiraling anyway, but at that particular time it really drew the line of like, nah, you're not on the same wavelength as us at all. And then for Man United as well, from that moment onwards, they just went further down south down that table. But yeah, that was a big one for me, man. Man United, I take that because many, it's almost just like the many past histories of seeing our team lose against Man United at Old Trafford or being undone fairly at Man United. Like, how many times you feel like refs on the back pocket on Old Trafford because they get pressured and whatnot. I can go through many examples of games in the past, So for me, that was a big one, and I'll take that to a point. But there was some other good games though. And I don't want to, it's almost like spoiling a little bit of a topic we're going to get into later about favorite goal of the season and that.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna stop that.
Yeah, hold that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, from a selfish point of view, I'm going to say the 2-1 win at Spurs, simply because that was the first game that my son saw Newcastle live. Took him to see the game, and we won. That's a game when he almost got me killed because we were sitting in the Spurs end. But but yeah, that was a great moment for me and for him. So I'm gonna say, even as trash as they are, as trash as Spurs were, but I'm gonna say the 2-1 against Spurs. Smokey's niche agrees with AC. He said beating Man United. Jefferson, what about yourself?
So I've got one that I just thought personally was a good one, and then one that I just thought was really good. The personal one was the one I told you guys about when it was my birthday weekend. I was away in Gran Canaria, and I was sitting in a German bar watching it, and there was a guy in a Chinese bar 2 bars down. We were the only Newcastle fans there, and I remember we both leapt up at the same time when Harvey Barnes scored, and then I was in disbelief when Cher scored because we robbed that game. But that was nice for me. But in terms of this season, I think.
So what game was this?
That was the Wolves away. So even though we were awful, the goals obviously were spectacular, but it was special to me because it was my birthday weekend and we got the win. But I think shout out to the Liverpool draw. I'm sure a lot of people will rate that one. But for me, it's the 2-0 Arsenal result against Arsenal away from home in the cup.
No, we're talking about the league. We're talking about league. Strictly league.
Sorry. Oh, the league.
How come you don't know Harry, bro? Jesus Christ.
You know what? I'm gonna throw a spanner in the works here. I really liked the 1-0 West Ham win away. And I know some people might think, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, was that game?
The manner in the structure, the way we played, and we ground and we had good chances. There was a real upbeat momentum after that result. And something in my mindset changed where I thought we're going to win this cup. Watching them that day, you felt like there was something still in the tank as well. So that was quite a good victory, I thought, 1-0 away to West Ham.
Okay, so all right, let me. Could you lot sport it anyway? What was your best moment overall then? Yeah, in which game? Are you saying the semi-final against Arsenal, Jefferson?
Yeah.
First leg, innit? First leg.
Yeah.
First leg, the away fixture. That was ridiculous. Like, and it's also for myself and Jefferson as well. We both watched it from home. D-Man, you was at the game. Yeah. But that build-up, it was that classic build-up for a game where like they focused so much on Arsenal, like Arsenal this, Arsenal that. Almost like just not really believing the fact that Newcastle could turn up. And it was funny because I remember that day I messaged you all, and I think we even did a predictions. I said to you, there's something in the air about this game. There's something, I don't know what it is, but I can feel something that it's going to be a positive night for us. And lo and behold, man, it's one of the best performances, hands down, for the season. And I think even the other day when Carragher and Neville doing their review of the season, Carragher was just like, yeah, that particular game was just like outstanding. I thought it wasn't Neville. One of the two were giving us credit.
Carragher,
anyway.
I think
it's Carragher, yeah, because it's just one of those games where you just didn't expect it, but it was such a masterclass. And every player, like Isak that day was just like ridiculous. Like,
Phenomenal.
that was just like on the center stage proper. And tactically, Arteta he looked so outplayed that day. And I think all Arsenal, and there's one of those games as well where the Arsenal fans all give credit, was like, nah, you guys really did that. But then they were a bit like, they're eating a humble pie, but their still second leg wasn't there, and they were still thinking that like, oh, they can come to our place
if they get the early goal. Yeah.
So it was a little bit of like, and the players were still being quite humble. Remember Gordon after the game was just like, no, it's just half time. We're not celebrating. There was no after photo in with the team and that. It was, the team were very grounded, and it, like Jefferson said, I think about their professionalism and just like being really, how can I say it? That's like being serious about our game. And I think there's a different element towards our team as a group this season, particularly.
Anything you want to add about that one, Jefferson? That particular game itself?
I mean, obviously, I don't know if we're talking about goals of the season yet. So there's a few.
Not yet.
But at least for the celebration, it just had to be that Anthony Gordon doing the Henri at the post, really rubbing the salt in the wounds. Like,
that was cheeky.
That was such a massive moment. It was like, we have arrived. Like, you better take us seriously. Do you know what I mean?
Hey, Kante, are you stop trolling, bro? Now is not the time about Newcastle for Casemiro. Stop it. Stop your nonsense. Yeah, stop your nonsense. Right? But William said Boxing Day versus Villa was one of his favourites as well.
That was good also.
That was a very good game.
That was really good. That was really good.
That game that you guys spoke about, the way that I think, that was... I'd say, because I was there as well with the Newcastle fans and seeing the team live, how they played and how they never looked like losing that game at all. Isak got the first goal, and he did the celebration. There was all that furore about from the Arsenal fans about Isak coming to play at the Emirates and trying to tap him up and all that nonsense. And he goes and scores and buoys him up with the celebration, and obviously Gordon's celebration as well. But the way we played in that game, and remember, Eddie changed the formation as well midway through. To begin with, anyway, with Botman come back, but also, remember, he did the 5-5-0, 5-5-0, the famous 5-5-0 before the end of the game. That was crazy.
It's insane, isn't it?
Between that and obviously the final itself, because what a historic moment that was, and the fact that we actually played Liverpool off the park as well. It don't get much better than that, to be honest. And big Dan Burn scoring. If anyone deserved the goal in the final, it was Dan Burn. And that moment there, and Isak's celebration with the Van Dijk buoying him off and then standing up with the fans and that. It was just, I don't know, man. Between those two games, amazing. But before we go to goal of the season and stuff, Stephen, Casemiro's kit, man.
Casemiro's DOF.
Well, we need somebody. But anyway, what was your lowest point? Which game? I think I know what Jefferson's gonna say, but the 80. What was your lowest? The game that was the lowest point for you of the season.
Lowest point. It was a game where we should have definitely got points up, but we just didn't. And it was part of that, like, it's almost like the wheels falling off. And I think it was the Everton game, Everton away. It was just crap, man. It was really crap. It's a game that really, like you said, dark days of thunder, black cloud, like, oh my goodness! If we're not getting points away at Everton, what are we really doing here, guys? Almost, I do remember. It's coming back to me now. That the results, it did hurt getting beat by Villa like that as well. That was a bit of humble pie. That was like, didn't really like that. But Bournemouth as well. Bournemouth spanking at home. Yeah, you're right, Scants. That was something. But at the same time,
Scants loves that game, He loves to bring up that game.
I don't blame him, because we get smashed at home every season. No, there's always one game we get smashed at home. That's what we get with this manager, though.
It's a funny one, because I give respect to Bournemouth at the same time. So it was one of those games where I was just like, fair play, man. But when you're seeing what's his name getting hat trick and that, and I was like, this is too much for me, man. It was getting to a point we were just like, we had to eat humble pie for a good week, and I think that was because it was at home as well. Like Saturday, it was early kickoff. Had to watch everyone else play for the rest of the weekend. Not good. Not good.
I'm gonna say the one. Oh, I could talk about the Fulham game, right? But I'm gonna say the West Ham at home. Yeah, because
gosh, yeah.
everybody expected us to batter West Ham. Yeah, to win convincingly, right? St. James's Park under the lights, right? And not only did they beat us, they deserved to beat us. We were awful. Yeah, we had, I think after a few minutes, we had the goal disallowed from Isak. But other than that, we offered absolutely nothing. They absolutely bodied us. And to me, that's when reality starts seeing that we're not as good as we think we are. We're not. Yeah.
You know, it was a momentum buster as well, D-man, because remember, based on the poor start, I think, I could be wrong, you might have to correct me on this. If we won that game, we would have gone up into 3rd or 4th.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing.
Yeah. And I remember you saying at the time, anytime we got a chance or opportunity to do something, we fumbled the bag.
By the way, Double D's come in, agree with you, your personal favorite, Jefferson. He said, nowhere near a glamour performance, but your 2-1 win at Wolves was huge, as they should have put you away.
That was a robbery that day.
Yeah.
But 2 blockbusters, you know what I mean? Cher and Barnes, them goals. Boy, yeah. I just remember it was like, Harvey Barnes!
So Jefferson, what was your one?
For me, aggregated by the West Ham result, it was Crystal Palace. I was like, get the guy gone. Like, I want him gone today. Like, gone. It was done. It was done.
I was at that game.
Don't get me wrong. Obviously, common sense prevailed. He managed to turn it around. But in multiverse theory, 99 times out of 100, where the team were at, and that result was the nail in the coffin, he should have been gone after that game. And that's why we're hearing about the club having talks with Simone Inzaghi. Do you remember we saw His Excellency talking to Mourinho at the Formula One and all that sort of stuff.
God forbid.
You know,
season. I can't remember. Was that?
Yeah. That was this season, and it looked like all the stuff was, you know, they were making moves, but yeah, some kind of divine intervention or something. Because look, you can't regret it, because at the end of the day, he went on to win us the cup, and that's something, you know, that's monumental. So everything that was meant to be was meant to be.
Right.
But you're asking me about the lowest point. That was it. I was just like, I'm done, and that was aggregated by the West Ham result. You know, because your balloon's been popped by then.
Yeah, just a random. I know Scants, if you're still listening, I know Liverpool had this Liverpool news. I heard Florian Wirtz wants a number 10 from McAllister. Yeah, no more Mac 10 hype. Yeah, what you telling me? What are you telling me? Man's coming and making demands. Yeah, he wants that 10.
That's what Cunha did as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Rashford's out on the way anyway, so he's gonna have to take that. But if you take that 10 off McAllister,
you can't take the shot off McAllister. That's wrong.
Listen, when you pay 200 million, whatever they pay for him, I can do whatever I want. Yeah, I'm the big dog now. Unless you're Salah, don't chat to me. Yeah, boy, it's gonna be.
They can't do that.
To be fair, though, McAllister's basically a number 6. I don't know why he's wearing number 10 anyway.
They call him Mac 10. Yeah, Mac 10. Yeah,
I know what you mean. Why is he not?
They're called Mac 6. Yeah,
it's a Gillette razor, isn't it?
Well, listen. All right. Kante, love it. No, we do not trust his director of football, bro. Love it.
Yeah. You're a shady guy, bro. I'm not sure if I trust you. You'll be getting Harry Wilson on the right wing and stuff like that.
But what was your goal of the season? What was your goal of the season? AC.
Easy, man. Easy.
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy, isn't it? Yeah.
Isak against Liverpool, easy.
Was it the hardest shot in the league? The season hardest goal in the league and something.
That goal, I've seen the clip so many times. The way Bruno just fed the ball through, and the way he just one movement and just hit it like that. And then
when Bruno shimmied him, who did Bruno shimmy? Who did Bruno shimmy?
VVD.
Does anyone know? Pop quiz. Who did Bruno shimmy before he played the ball? Do we know?
Gravenberch, was it?
No.
It's McAllister.
Mac 10, yeah.
We batted them up that day. I just think if they hadn't made the changes that day, they wouldn't have saved the game. I know that the keeper kind of messed up for them at the end, but bringing on Trent and Salah was the game changer. Otherwise, we had the game on lock because the midfield was just dominating.
Bring on Salah like he didn't start the game.
Boy, didn't they bring him on? No,
bro. Salah, the first goal, I think it was. Salah, we nicked the ball off Salah first, bro. Listen, Salah was there.
See, I can't even remember because he wasn't. It didn't feel like he was in the game, you know.
Nah, bro, he was quiet.
It didn't feel like it. It just felt like.
I think Lewis Hall played that game, so Lewis Hall kept him quiet. That's when Hall was still playing.
Double D, something has happened. My sound can't hear you guys.
Look, it's another Barnes v Wolves. There we go.
No, that was a screen.
It was a banger, wasn't it?
That was a banger. But yeah,
Isak, man, Isak. That was a killer.
Shout out to the Isak. I don't know how it didn't make any shortlist. You know the one where Jacob Murphy backhills the ball?
The back heel.
And then Isak with his long limbs with the touch and then caresses it in. That's a goal, bruv.
But we know. Let's not talk about Murphy against Palace, bruv. Yeah. Because he meant that. Yeah.
Yeah, he meant that. I'm still not sure about Tonali.
No, Tonali said he didn't mean anyway, but Murphy meant it.
Murphy meant that, innit?
That's an arrow, bro. Yeah. We scored some bad boy goals, you know. Some bad boy goals. But yeah, goal of the season, player of the season, yeah. Who's that going to?
Toughie, it's a toughie, man.
Difficult one. I thought about this quite a lot, almost like overthinking it. But I think we have to give it to this guy really, because I feel like this player was part of that transformative turnover for us to go on that run, and all of a sudden everyone played a lot better because he was starting. You know where I'm going with this, right? It's my guy, Tonali.
All right.
It has to be really, because everything went through him, and it's almost just like, imagine he kept being benched. We may not have ever had that run. And you know, and also his transition through the team, and also everything that's gone through. I know there's going to be a lot of sentimental things here because he was on his ban and he had to come back in and stuff. But also this guy performs his ass off every game. We could be losing, and everyone's got like 6 out of 10 performances. This guy could still have average 7.5. Just like, you know what I mean? He's just like consistent with it. But Sandro Tonali, man, what a guy! And you know, and he still had a few goals in his locker this season as well. Some nice little bit of assists as well. He's the man, and I feel like we said it before, and I say it again. They've got to build this team around this guy. You have to. You have to.
I tend to agree. I mean, like I said, our season transformed when he came back into the team and was played in at the six. The combination between him and Bruno, obviously. Him, Bruno, and Joe Linton, the midfield fluidity that they had, the best midfield in the league, I'd say. But yeah, it's largely down to him. Our resurgence was down to him. Obviously, we've got Isak's goals, which we can't shy away from.
Boss man.
Yeah,
hey, Mafia.
Special shout out to Dan Burn as well, because you know he has been phenomenal this season. You know, we know his limitations. We know his limitations.
Shit out here.
Nah, he's been a leader. And you know, he scored probably the most important goal in our history, or one of the most important goals in our recent history. You know, but his performances, especially since the turn of the year, right? He's been absolutely phenomenal. Like he's been playing like his life depended on it. And you know, also had Lewis Hall not been injured, he would have been a good shout for it as well.
That goal, man. There's that goal.
Yeah. But no, I'd agree. I think it's Sandro Tonali. Jefferson?
Yeah, I agree with your shout out for Dan Burn. clearly had pretty much the season of his life. I mean, I still think the 22-23 was a strong season from him. But being called up to the England national team, and then you really got to shout out the likes of Tino, who for me has come on leaps and bounds, because we were moaning about how lazy he was and all of that, not concentrating. Come the end of the season, he was showing Gordon what time it was. I don't know if was it against Chelsea or who was it against? We played, was it Everton, where the ball was running out, Gordon left it and Tino ran round him to collect the ball. So Tino deserves a shout. He's established in the England squad now. Lewis Hall pre-injury, exactly the same. You know, managed to get a couple of England call-ups as well. The thing about Isak is people are going to be like, why aren't you shouting out your top scorer as the player of the season? You know, he had a poor start to the season, very slow, and really tailed off at the end because he was carrying this groin injury. So what you've got is this sandwich where he was amazing within a kind of 22 game period, you know, where he scored X amount of goals. Whereas, you know, if you're looking at consistency and the catalyst to our change, you would argue without Tonali as well, we wouldn't be where we're at. So
I see.
I'm going to go full house on Tonali.
Yeah, Stephen agrees. He says Tonali. Yeah, indeed. William said Tonali. He said Burn Hall if he had been healthy. Double D says Lewis Hall or Dan Burn player of the season. So a mixed bag, but I think Tonali is the main one. You know, let's see what he can deliver next season. Let's talk about, to wrap up the Newcastle talk. Well, the season talk. Let's talk about Eddie Howe, right? Because we already spoke about our criticism of him for the first 15 games. You know, we know his limitations. You know, the substitutions, the stubbornness in his selections. You know, loyalty to certain players, and it was still evident towards the end of the season as well, shoehorning Gordon back into the team when he shouldn't have done. But he's won the League Cup. He's won us our first trophy that we, as Newcastle fans, as all three of us, the first major trophy we've ever seen in our lives, right?
I feel so weird saying that. It sounds so shit. It sounds so shit.
It does, right? He's bagged Champions League qualifications 2 out of the 3 full seasons that he's had with us, right? He saved us from relegation, coming in when we were 19th, whatever, finished comfortably 11th, right? You know, he's improved the likes of Murphy. Most players even improved. The transformation of Joe Linton, right? You know, he's made Isak a better player, right? Isak wasn't scoring these amount of goals before he came to the Prem, right? So, you know, he's got what he's got out of Dan Burn and the likes, you know, and whatnot. I did ask the question, early in the season, if he bagged us a trophy and got us Champions League football, does he become our greatest ever manager? Is there any debate? Because I'm saying yes.
No. What?
Just straight.
What? What? Look at Kevin Keegan, innit? Look at Kevin Keegan.
All right. Let me
Look at Sir Bobby Robson, innit?
Okay.
Sir Bobby Robson also got 3 top 5 finishes and got us out of the Champions League group and into UEFA Cup semi-final. So on a continental level, if you add it to that, he's done even better. And then we know what KK did for us, because there's a difference between being title contenders and scraping 5th on the last day.
All right, but 2nd and 5th don't get the same thing, right?
It's the Carabao Cup, guys. I know we're desperate for 70 years, but it's not the FA Cup. We
competed in it. Last time I checked, we competed in the Carabao Cup with Kevin Keegan. We competed in the Carabao Cup with Bobby Robson. None of them. Eddie Howe. Let's put it to.
I ain't gonna win this. Wait. Look up Eddie Howe.
I'm just gonna put it. I'm just gonna put it into context, right? Kevin Keegan got us 2nd, sorry. Yeah, he bottled a 12-point lead. Bottled it. Yeah, wherever you want to judge about, he bottled it. Right? He blew that title. No. He bottled it. Fact. He bottled it.
It is a fact. It is a fact.
He never won us a trophy, a major trophy. Right? Fact. Right? And don't go wrong. I love. No, wait. Listen. I love Kevin Keegan, because he's the man. He was there when I
We
first
all love
supported him.
Keegan, man.
We all love Keegan, right? We all love Bobby Robson for everything that you said that he did,
We
right?
love Bobby too.
And he's a Jordan, right? We have no disputing that. We love Bobby Robson. But the fact of the matter is, none of them could deliver us a trophy Eddie Howe has, right?
Well done to him.
Well done to him. And that sits him above
No, it don't.
those two. It does.
No, it doesn't.
No,
Champions League.
No.
Champions League's a better competition.
If you win it, yes. If you win it, yeah. You're
All
not
right,
winning it.
Europa League semi-final.
If you win it.
Semi-final.
If you win it.
To put it simply, right?
If you win it.
To put it simply.
So wait.
When it comes to
fourth, seventh, and fifth, yeah. Third, fourth, and fifth. What's better?
Okay.
So you're saying over this trophy? That doesn't make sense.
Yes,
that's sentiment, bro. That's like saying okay. That's like saying Roberto Martinez is a better coach than Eddie because he won the FA Cup with Wigan. You can't go, bruv. You get judged on the bread and butter. That's the league.
Bruv,
that's
how many times did he get Everton to the Champions League? How many times did he get Liverpool?
Double D, what's more important to Liverpool fans? The 2 league titles you've seen that win in recent years or the Champions League? I guarantee you they'll say the league. Everybody wants to be as high up in the league.
Okay.
Everyone does.
Ask them, what's better? Their Champions League trophy or the time they finished by second or a point for Man City? I guarantee you they say the Champions League because it's a trophy. It's a trophy.
This guy choked 6th, D-man. He choked 6th. We're talking about Keegan choking first. He choked 6th. And guess what? He nearly choked 5th on the last day. In fact, he did.
Let me ask you a question.
If it wasn't for Man United,
can I ask you a question?
He wouldn't have been in the Champions League.
Can I ask you a question? Yes or no? Can I ask you a question?
Go on.
Ask you a question? What does second get you and what does 6th get you? What trophy do they get you? Are we frozen?
Okay.
So no.
I'll answer your question.
No.
I'll answer your question.
Yeah, what trophy? Just say trophy. What trophy did they get you?
Okay, it doesn't get you anything.
Okay, stop there. So
this is where it's over. Are you ready? This is where it's finished.
No,
because you're wasting time.
No.
This is a trinket. It's a shiny trinket, yeah? What competition does that? So wait, where did we finish? Where did we finish the season before? Where did we finish?
7th.
What place does 7th get you? What competition?
The Conference League.
And what competition do you get in for winning that cup?
The Europa League.
No, Conference League.
The League Cup. Sorry, the League Cup.
It's equidistant. So the fact it's a trophy is no better than finishing 7th in the league. The only thing that's the stardust is that we hadn't had a trophy for 70 years. Take that away.
But you can't
it's
take
the
it away.
same as finishing 7th place.
But you can't take
wait.
It is though. It's the same. It's the same.
Let me speak on it.
You don't care about
FA Cup is Europa. FA Cup is Europa.
Let me speak on this.
Let AC talk. Let me
speak on this, right? Just generally speaking, when it comes to history, when people look over history, when people in 30 years' time look back at their history, they're not going to look at finishing 4th, finishing 6th. It's going to be about the accreditations of what did you win. First of all, that's my first point.
Yeah, correct.
Secondly, for what we did to achieve to win that cup, we had to beat Liverpool, we had to beat Chelsea, we had to beat Arsenal twice. So it's not exactly so. The whole narrative about it's a Mickey Mouse Cup, that's dead in the pan of the water for me, because we had to go through a lot to win that cup. It was not an easy thing to do. Obviously, there is this thing about 70 years. I get that, yeah. And to be honest, though, like none of us predicted we could win the cup this season. And also, I think credit to Howe, actually, and that's something I've kind of realized is that, yes, he's won this cup, but if you look at since he's been there, we've actually done really well in the League Cup in general. We got to a final once, we lost it. We got to the quarters and lost it. So he's actually got quite a good record in that League Cup as well, just generally speaking. And if I compare it, we all love Sir Bobby. We all love Keegan. Those are our days, isn't it? Those are our days. I'm always going to have tinted glasses looking at that like nostalgia. You can almost just like smell the era, right? But the fact is, and it is what it is on paper, is that those managers didn't win us anything. So I think in comparison, Howe does come out on top. because
So
he's won that
let me
cup.
ask you a question,
He's
AC.
won
I
that, he's
want to
won
ask you a
that cup.
question.
He's won that cup,
Can I ask you a
and
question?
we have qualified for Champions League in one season.
I want to
If
ask
you
you a
would- if
question.
you told-
I
if you
rate
would-
him. I rate him for qualifying for Champions League more than I do for winning that cup.
But why? How can you say that though?
I want to ask you a question.
But how can you?
Where?
Wait.
Where? I want to ask you one question, please. Where is Roberto Martinez? No. Even better. Where's Michael Laudrup after winning this cup for Swansea? Where's Alex McLeish after winning this for Birmingham?
Did they get them in
It
Champions League
doesn't
as well?
matter. People forget about it.
Okay, can I ask?
It's immortalized as the FA Cup, guys.
You're answering your question. You're answering.
Where are they?
Let
Where
people
are they?
Are you gonna let people answer then?
Listen.
What did they get them to Champions League football as well in the same season?
So that's what I'm saying. The
I'm
Champions
asking.
League is the bread and butter.
Well.
The league.
No, as well. This is what I'm saying. It's a combination, bro. Champions League qualification. It doesn't matter if you finish 2nd or 5th. You get the same thing. Champions qualification. Yeah.
Swansea
and the trophy. So he done better than Bobby Robson and Keegan. Keegan, hold on. Wait.
I can't be honest.
Can you agree? Can you agree that Kevin Keegan outspent everybody in the league and still didn't win it?
Eddie spent more money than both those managers combined.
No. Come on. I'm asking you a question. Kevin Keegan outspent everybody in the league and still failed to win it. Yes or no?
Has he not played the best football we've seen?
Yes or no? Yes or no, Jefferson? Yes or no?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So
has Eddie Howe ever finished 2nd in his life? Will he ever finish 2nd in the Premier League in his life?
What's the difference between 2nd and 5th? It's 2nd and 5th. It's Champions League qualification, no?
Okay. What's the difference between that cup and 7th place?
A trophy.
A trophy.
Conference League.
Silverware. No, silverware.
Conference League.
Look at the picture.
Conference
Have you
League.
seen Bobby Robson? Have you seen Bobby Robson or Kevin Keegan sit with a trophy? Have you seen that? You have never seen that. You never will see that, right? He's the most successful manager in our period. So therefore, he's the greatest manager that we've seen in our lifetime.
In your opinion. In our opinion.
In most people's opinion. Yeah, let's be honest.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
You don't like Eddie. Yeah, you don't like Eddie. That's the reason why.
It's not logical, bro. It's not logical. He literally choked 6th place last season with 4 games to go. This year, he did his damn best to sabotage. We nearly never even made it.
I just want to wheel this back and you talked about Michael Laudrup. For me, you cannot bring this up and disregard
he
that.
knows he can't.
Right, you can't.
He won the League Cup though.
Did he get Champions League football in the same time? No,
Where's Swansea now? Where's Swansea now?
No. But that particular era, Swansea, hands down, were playing some of the best ball in the league.
Damn right, playing better football than us.
I'm gonna be a little bit biased with that because I was actually at Wembley for that final as well. So, it was a big occasion, and fair play to Swansea, man. It was like what a big era. And you're talking about the days of Mishu up front. You're talking the days of shout out to Nathan Dyer on that one as well. It was an elite team. It was a great era. You had Wilfred Bonney as well. Bro, that was a team. You can't disregard that.
Scatson said Champions League is more important to the club than the cup, right? I'm not disputing that. But Eddie Howe got both. Yeah,
that's what I said. I rate him more for qualifying for Champions League than I do for that cup. But your biggest thing is, he won that trophy. That makes it the best ever. When there's managers in the 50s that won us the league.
Jefferson,
how does that make sense?
No. Can you?
Thank you, Stephen Field, Joe Harvey.
No. Okay, all right. I'm not talking about part. I said since we've been managing, since we've been supporting Newcastle, he's our greatest ever manager. Yeah.
Not in my opinion. I disagree.
You said Champions League qualification is more important. Yeah. Keegan, whoever got Champions League, whatever it is. Bobby Robson got Champions League qualification. Eddie Howe got Champions League qualification. What's the difference between all 3 of them? One got Champions League.
He finished in higher positions.
More
regularly.
No, Jefferson.
Which means over the course of time, he finished in the higher positions more regularly, and he got to a continental semi-final. And in the first campaign, he got us out of the first group stage. What happened to Eddie? We finished bottom
in the group of death. In the group of death.
Okay, and what else? He choked the season before, so we didn't have any European qualification.
So what I'm saying is, okay, 20 years from now, you're going to remember that Sir Bob Robson got to a semi-final and whatever in the Champions League, or Eddie Howe won the trophy, our first domestic trophy in how many years? What's gonna be more remembered?
For us as fans, yes, but everyone else, no. Because people talk about Wigan? How many people talk about Wigan beating Man City? How many people talk about Swansea and Birmingham beating Arsenal? They don't talk about it.
But we're talking about us.
Because the League Cup has no prestige.
Newcastle fans. Even Alan Shearer said it. Yeah? Even Alan Shearer said it. He now sits above Keegan and Robson. And it's
That's
facts.
up to him, innit?
It
I
is
respect
facts.
Big
It is
Al, but I
facts.
disagree
Yeah.
with him.
It's
Also,
facts.
I'm
also
entitled to
Eddie
my
Howe.
opinion, lads. That's
Also,
it.
Eddie Howe was a nominee for the award for best manager of the season as well. Just
Good
want to
for
put it out
him.
there,
Good for him.
bruv.
You just don't like the guy, and it's cool. It's cool, right?
But the thing is, though, forget it. I can't be able to get into it anymore. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
But anyway,
Being the
let's-
Eddie camp, it's all good.
listen,
It's all good.
listen. It is what it is, yeah. But he's the most successful
What you
manager.
win, that counts.
Exactly, and that's the main thing. He's the most successful manager. Fact. Anyway,
No
He's
one
not
has
the most
won
successful
trophy.
manager. There was a manager that won
no,
league
since
titles.
we've been supporting Newcastle,
okay.
bro. We're not
In our
talking-
lifetime,
you were
innit?
dead.
Our
You
lifetime.
weren't even breathing when they were winning. So that's talking about nonsense, bro. Since we've been alive, he's
Yeah,
our most
but
successful
that's-
manager. Yeah?
what was it?
Isn't it, Jefferson?
What was it? 56 or something like that?
Is that most successful since we've been supporting Newcastle? Jefferson. Why are you
Winning a
thinking about it?
trophy.
Why are you thinking about it? Yes or no? Is that most successful?
Because you're talking about one tournament, D-man. I'm talking about the whole league, man.
Right,
There's league campaigns.
Okay,
That
yeah, no,
doesn't
all right,
exist.
okay. I agree.
Football is more than the League Cup.
I
yeah?
agree. I agree.
If someone's finished third,
Jefferson,
fourth,
I
and
agree.
fifth,
Jefferson,
that's
I
better
agree.
than fourth,
Jefferson,
seventh, and
Jefferson,
fifth.
I
innit?
agree. I agree. Is he our most successful manager since we've been supporting Newcastle? Yes or no?
I don't think so yet.
The fact that you can't have said it shows you how much you hate the brother. Anyway, let's move on. Let's Let's talk about team of the season, right? Let's talk about team of the season. Yeah. Let's start. Let's go for the 4-3-3. Yeah. Who have you guys got in goal? Who's your selection for AC? I'll start with you.
I was in two minds. It's almost like a default. People will just go with Alisson. I feel like it's like a default thing to do, really, because he's outstanding. I did come across Raya, and to be honest, he was so good against us as well, from stopping us getting points against Arsenal. And to be honest, he's quite a good season. I did think about Forest's keeper as well, but the thing, because I tailed off towards the end, I was like, not so sure. What's his keeper's name again? Sales, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's my kind of list I've got in mind, really. No one else really kind of stood out. I thought about our keeper, and I was just like, not really. If anything, Pope kind of annoyed me this season, to be honest.
Yeah.
Can't kick a ball out to anybody. Do you know what I mean? Like, because when I think about it, it's not just about like how many clean sheets they got. It's just about like a general how good they are as a keeper as well. So, you know, I look at Liverpool, and arguably it's an interesting one because I'm still in this mindset of like, my Liverpool fans might not like this, Double D might not like this as well, but Liverpool won the league, but at the same time, I kind of feel like no one tested them this season. So it's kind of like, I don't want to give it to Alisson like that. So maybe my final pick's going to be Raya. That's it.
You say Raya. Jefferson, what are you saying?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Because I agree. No one really stood out. I think special shout out to Sells, because remember he was with us under Rafa times. No one expected him to be as good as he was. But yeah, I think I'll go with Raya. Special shout out to Henderson as well. But yeah, I'll go David Raya, I think.
I'm gonna go Matt Sells, because I think going into the season, everyone expected Arsenal to have the best defense anyway. I'm gonna say, and also they were equal for both clean sheets, I believe. So I'm gonna go Matt Sells. A bit of the ability, Alisson's the best keeper, but he missed a chunk of the season. He missed a chunk of the season as well through injury. So I'm gonna go for Matt Sells. Let's talk about right back. I'm gonna start with you, Jefferson. Who's your pick for right back?
Again, I don't know if there's any bias because it depends what you're looking at. If you're looking at sort of, goals, assists, that kind of thing. But obviously, I talked about Tino earlier. I think, he was a massive player for us. So I'm tempted to stick with him, even though he hasn't quite got the stats to back that up.
Okay.
I think if Ben White maybe had been fitter for most of the season, I probably would have picked him as a safe bet. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Tino.
I'll give a good shout out to Aina for Forest. I think he had a very good season, but I'm gonna go for Daniel Munoz from Crystal Palace. I think he was very, very good. I know it's a wing back situation, but listen, his overall play, the engine that he's got, the assists, he came up with some good key goals as well. He got Palace's Player of the Season as well, so I'm gonna go for Munoz. AC.
Yeah, that was actually my pick. I had Munoz down. I see Scants mentioned Timber. I did think about Timber as well because he's definitely one of those players where, obviously, I didn't tend to watch a lot of Arsenal games, but I heard a lot about his performance, also about their left back, which we'll get into in a moment. And I think, I'm spoiling it a little bit, but yeah, Munoz. I think he deserves it. I think he was, when Palace had that little bit of run and stuff, he was up there. And also, they won the cup as well.
Did he score the equaliser against us in the 1-1 as well, didn't he?
Yeah, in the last minute, yeah. I got up and left. But yeah, let's talk the centre-back pairing. I'll start this one. I've gone for Milenkovic from Forest and Van Dijk. I think Milenkovic. You could have got any of the pairing. Is it Murillo or Milenkovic? I think either one. But I'm gonna say Milenkovic and Van Dijk. Again, he played the season like he was in second gear, man. He was so far clear of any other centre back in the Prem. Comfortable. Those are my two. AC.
Once again, I got the same as you actually. I think. Guys, Forest were crazy this season. You have to give it credit. I know they slipped off towards the end of the season, but it's that classic thing where these players don't get a lot of shout outs because, I hate to say it, because they're playing for Forest, but if you put that guy in a Man City jersey, people will be calling him best defender of the Europe right now because he had an outstanding season. And Virgil van Dijk, man, it's getting to a point where he's just that calm, collective player. Just does it every game. He's just cemented in it, and no wonder he has to stay at that club as well. To be honest, he's one of the key reasons why they won the league, in my opinion. So it is.
Jefferson.
Yeah, I agree with actually what Scants has put Van Dijk and Gabriel. I think Gabriel, when he was fit, was just top notch. He's gone another level. For me, but I think shout out to players. I think Van Hecke, Jean-Paul Van Hecke had a good season with Brighton as well. So yeah, shout out to him.
I thought Hoyson had a good season as well for Bournemouth as well. Decent shout. But the Gabriel one's an interesting one because we saw what Saliba was like when Gabriel wasn't there. Complete different defender.
Lost,
completely different. Which is be interesting. And apart from Isak, you haven't seen anyone bad up that centre back pairing for a while. So it is what it is. But let's get to the midfield three. This one was quite difficult actually.
It's hard, isn't it? I struggled on this one as well.
Yeah. Who've you got, AC? Who've you got?
So I got Tonali in the middle. And then I've got McAllister. I think I have to get to McAllister. He's a player that I kind of like. I wish he was wearing black and white sometimes. I was like, yes, he's a good player, man. And once again, there's some performances and some goals he scored this season as well. That's another thing. McAllister has everything in his locker, in my opinion.
Apart from
now
number 10 shirt.
Now the other player, I struggled, and I had to. I don't know, man. It's one of the ones where I don't know. Because obviously I'm thinking about the performance in the league, but also these teams that do run in other competitions. And I have to kind of give a shout out a little bit to, I'm going to give a shout out to Declan Rice, actually, because, I think he's a player that we criticize him quite harshly. I know, especially when they wore the England shirt, we were just like, this guy. But he's obviously improved his free kick game, number one.
But he scored 2.
But he's got, but also I think just generally speaking, I think the way Arsenal play, kicks on and such, you know, he's kind of the person who kind of kept their team together because let's face it, Odegaard dropped off a bit this season. I think Odegaard had injuries as well, and Rice was that player who kind of kept that team together a little bit. And I think when Arsenal were early in the season, they were pushing through results. Remember when Arsenal were just winning 3-0, 2-0, 4-0? They were just bagging teams. When we were going through our
I don't remember that.
Do you remember?
3-0, 4-0, 2. I don't remember that.
I'm sure they did.
I know they slapped City 5-1, but other than that, I don't really.
Yeah.
Set pieces, wasn't it? They were winning sort of 2-1,
yes. Jefferson.
Yeah, by the odd goal.
Thank you. Yeah. So they were the set piece merchants, and they got found out, and everyone started to know how to defend them because they were doing that zonal stuff. So yeah, I'll give to Declan Rice. I'll be a nice guy and do that and spread the love a little bit. So
you said Tonali, Rice, and who?
McAllister.
We forgot left back. Good point. We forgot left back, by the way. So we've got a left back quickly. I've got.
I bet Kante's gone, isn't he?
Good.
Kante, you still in the building? I'm sorry, brother, but yeah, I'm gonna go Kirkez. Would have been cool if he stayed fit for the season.
I would have said Kirkez or Cucurella. I thought Cucurella. Really,
if you think that he came off the back of a good Euros as well,
yeah,
it weren't even. Do you know what I mean? He carried that momentum through.
I do love Cucurella. He's just wearing the wrong shirt, man. For me.
Yeah. Okay. My midfield 3. I haven't put Tonali in there simply because he didn't play the whole season. Had he played the whole season, I would have put him in there. I've gone for Gravenberch because I thought he's been outstanding as the number 6. I've gone for Caicedo because I think he's had an outstanding season. He's actually proved his worth this season. I know he played the last few games at right back, whatever, but once he inverts into centre midfield, it's a different story. And the last one I've gone for is Morgan Rogers, Aston Villa. I thought he's been very impressive this season. So
I forgot about Rogers actually.
He plays higher up though, doesn't he? He plays sort of almost in a free role,
yeah.
like a left.
Yeah, but he kind of floats a little bit. So I thought, let me put. I wanted to shoot him in there. I could put him at left wing, and then I put Tonali in there.
Okay.
I actually couldn't think of a left winger, so
because I nearly put Cunha as left central midfield, but I thought I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, but yeah, Double D said good midfield. Scats had said Grav, Mac10 and Tillemans. Fair enough.
Tillemans was good this season, man.
Tillemans had a good season.
He was good this season.
William said Tonali and whoever.
I forgot about Tillemans. I might change my midfield, you know. I might drop Rice. What am I doing? I'm dropping Rice, man. Sorry, Basmati, you're going.
Jefferson, who you got?
I've gone for Tonali, obviously McAllister, you know, probably the all-action midfielder, you know, 6'8", 10. He can do everything, can't he? World class. And then, you know, obviously Morgan Gibbs-White for me goes under the radar. That guy, he's got a lot of tools in the box. He's got pace. He's got passing, you know, short, medium, long. He's got a goal in him. He's got a creative eye, and he's got that bit of grit. He loves a bit of a tackle as well. For me, very underrated and should be playing for a top 4 team. Real driving force. So I've gone, Morgan Gibbs-White, Tonali, and McAllister.
Okay. The front 3, we'll start with right wing and then we'll go to left wing, then striker. I think right wing, you know, there's only one person. You're not going to say anything. He's had a great season. The GA is impressive. So yeah, Jacob Murphy. And then
what? Say that again.
I'm joking.
Wow. You had me there, bro. You had me there.
No, that has to go to Salah. The numbers again insane. Yeah, the numbers are insane. He just keeps getting better and better. You know, another golden boot. I mean, Haaland would have given a run for the money if he wasn't injured, but then you know Haaland had tailed up as well. So, yeah, man, And I think he got, what was it, 17 assists or something like that, or 18 assists or whatever it was.
Dirty,
Ridiculous. So, you know, they've tied him down to another contract extension. So, yeah, man, big up to Salah. That's a no-brainer there. Left wing, I'm going to give it to you guys because I actually couldn't think of one.
I struggle too.
It has to be Cunha. It has to be Cunha.
That was my default option, Cunha.
I mean, Scandal put Rodgers, but I think Rodgers has had a good season. But is it as good as last season?
Who, Rodgers?
Yeah, I don't know if he's got as much goal output as he did last season.
But he said Rodgers is a monster. He reminds him of a Spurs Dembele. Interesting.
To be honest, this season, good. He was good this season. More Rodgers. You got to think Villa were playing ball in Champions League this season.
Yeah.
They were turning up teams, man. Tearing up groups.
Any team that could have felt sorry for themselves and gave up after losing that quarterfinal, it was them.
Yeah,
they came back fighting, didn't they?
Whacked us up.
So yeah, you could give it to Rodgers. Actually, I'll do that because on our left side, I was thinking about our own team, and I was just like, no one's been consistent enough. Even though I like to give a highlight to say shout out to Barnes, but he wasn't consistent for the whole season.
I think he was good.
Whose fault was that though? You know, it's frustrating because even when Barnes was our top scorer, he scored more than Isak at one point. He had 5 goals or whatever it was. He kept getting benched, and then he's forever been moved to each side. He's never been able to get a rhythm until, you know.
Well, once Liverpool paid the 80 million for Gordon, then Barnes will have that spot.
I have to admit, man, I don't want to see Barnes put on the right next season. Forget that, man. Forget that.
Well, he might have to because it looks like we're not getting a right winger anytime soon.
It stunts his growth, man, on that.
Double D said, if it's a fantasy team of the season, we allow you to put Mbeumo over there because he played, but although he plays on the right.
That's cheating. That's cheating.
Do you know who we missed
out? Dead to me, yeah? He's dead to me.
Who I think is so underrated, Mikel Damsgaard. I thought he had such a good season.
He did.
And I think if he was playing at any other club, would be waxing lyrical. But again, so okay, you know, Mbeumo's in the conversation because he's got so many goal contributions. Him and Wissa, obviously. But outside of that, no one would really want to talk about Brentford's kind of players. But he's someone I think could play a higher level. That's
under the radar, innit? Under the radar. Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, so we're going to say Cunha on the left?
I love how no one really bothered.
I can't think. I mean,
Gakpo did all right.
Gakpo was all right, yeah.
Elanga.
How many goals did Gakpo score this season? Let me check this actually.
By the way, shout out to Chris Wood. Like, if it had been any other season, you know, and this is speaking volumes that, you know, we've put Isak in there, even though, you know, I think
have we? Yeah, we said it.
Oh, sorry.
We will put Isak as striker.
Isak is a striker, right?
Because him and Haaland scored the same amount of goals, is it? Or Haaland scored one more or something?
No, Isak got one more, I think.
Okay.
Isak got 23. Haaland got 22, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, obviously, Haaland missed a bag load of games. But yeah, listen, Isak. Listen, we know we had a slow start, but that middle chunk of the season, he was absolutely phenomenal. Not just in the league. We talked about the cup as well. The guy is outstanding. He's the best striker in the league, natural striker in the league, all round. Let's see what he can deliver for us next season. You know, back-to-back seasons of 20+ league goals. You know, beat Callum Wilson to the 50, and gone clear. So, you know, broke a couple of Shearer's records as well. So yeah. Listen, it's going to be
crazy that he came into this club and reached 50 goals before Wilson. Do you know how mad that is?
That's crazy. That's crazy. Gave man a head start as well.
Young and old, innit? Young and old.
Yeah. I think William said it still wonder what could have been with Minte.
Oh man, don't.
Yeah. Damn you, PSR. But anyway,
Liverpool might be interested in him.
If we had Minte, we would have finished third, man.
But why would Liverpool see? This is the thing with Liverpool. Liverpool's got that Kane phenomenon. Yeah, but Diaz. At certain times he couldn't hit a barn door, man. When he was bad, he was bad. Yeah, like I'm not having Diaz in there, man.
But he's got some bangers though, man.
Nah.
I like Diaz. I quite like Diaz, to be honest.
just on the Salah thing with Mente and Liverpool, it's similar to what Tottenham suffered with Harry Kane, yeah, or Arsenal suffered with Saka. Who's coming in there to play second fiddle and happily sit there? Who's quality? Yeah, you're not going to get many, especially young players. Many players are going to say, "Okay, I'm happy to sit on the bench while Salah does his thing or Saka does his thing." Like it's similar to us and Isak. What striker are we going to get that's going to be happy to play second fiddle? Yeah, and who's quality. It's a difficult one.
Sula.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because Salah's 32, I think he will see out his contract. I think if they do get a younger player in, like Minte's still quite raw and a bit young, isn't he? He knows that, all right, if I bide my time, Salah will be gone in a couple of seasons, and then that spot's mine. You know, you're effectively an understudy, isn't it? But if you're 24, 25 plus, and you're a bit more senior in your career, you're going to think, yeah, I don't want to be getting splinters on my
But
arse.
even Minte, he's used to first team football in the Premier League now.
Yeah.
So like, are you really going to go again to sit on the bench? I'm not so sure. Like you'll be praying that Salah gets injured and this brother does not get injured. You know what I mean? So just like,
yeah.
People do it for the cash flow, don't they? That's what people just go Man City and sit on bench, man.
Well, like Art Embremo, he's gone for the money. Let's talk about Embremo before we finish with the last thing. But obviously, listen, Eddie Howe came out and talked about the need for moving quickly in this transfer market. Yeah. Since then, we've lost our director of football. Yeah. We've seen Cunha go to Man United and we've seen Embremo go to Man United. Yeah. And we're talking about pay as you play for Wilson. Right. So what's your thoughts on this Embremo thing? Yeah. AC, I'll start with yourself.
Well, I'll quote myself. On the last pod, I said, I don't think we're getting Embremo because when the cash gets put up, these other clubs will put the cash up to outdo us on the pay. And I kind of knew this was coming in a way. So I'm not, and I did say on the last pod, don't put all our faith into Embremo. But I think our fan base, bro, I see it every day on Twitter, man. Everyone's just like, Embremo. I'm like, nah, man, that's not your only hope. This is not your, like, the last Jedi. This is not it. But don't get me wrong. I love Embremo. He's a great player. And to be honest, he should have been on our team of the season as well. But I think it's a weird one, isn't it? He probably had success at Man United, to be honest, because they're on a big rebuild and he will probably fit that system to a T. But at the same time, there's no doubt, though, if he would have come in our team, he would have fitted just as perfectly as well. Because I think he wouldn't have, well, he has to face competition with Murph Dog, but, you know, missing out on him is a bad one. But at the same time, you know, the window only started on Sunday, man. It's early out here. So I'm a bit like, it is what it is. Let's just move on.
I'm a bit different in the sense that, first of all, I said Embremo would have fitted us to a T. I think more than he would fit Manchester United. Yeah, because unless they still got to get rid of Bruno Fernandes. They've got Cunha there, they've got Fernandes, and they're gonna get Embremo. They need a striker. Getting them all in a team, I'm not so sure, right? But my thing is that Eddie Howe talked about moving at pace, right? And I know you said it's early the window, but this is the same thing that happened last year with Mark Gahey. We was in for Mark Gahey at the beginning of the window, all the way to the end of the window. Yeah. And the talk was Eddie Howe was saying it's him or nobody. Yeah. So I'm hoping we have other targets, right? Because I guarantee the media's gonna come out and say we weren't really in from Embremo. We've got other targets. He wasn't high up on our list. We've got other people we're gonna go for. Yeah.
I don't buy that either.
Yeah, they're gonna try to spin on that.
He's high on the list because it fits the profile of what Howe would want.
Right. And it says a lot.
Athletic, he wants strong runner, he wants,
and he's different to Murphy, yeah, and he can play across the front line, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is now, where do we go? It'd be interesting to see what the price is for Embremo, right? Because if it's above 50, then okay, maybe we weren't willing to pay more than 50 million. I get that. I know, man, that they overpay, they give the big wages, but you're a team that's Man United don't care about any rebuild. They're on the decline. Yeah, they're on the decline. We're not, right? We can offer Champions League football. Yes, I know the name of Manchester United, but why did both Cunha and Embremo are looking to get there so quick without even thinking about Newcastle? Yeah, that's quite worrying in the sense that a decrepit Manchester United, who there is no sign they're going to be any better next season. Yeah, the manager looks out of his depth. Any other manager would have been sacked. They've got the worst finish in years, but yet they're getting players.
It's
and I'm not saying that we were definitely in for him, but
yeah.
The talk was that we were.
I know it's a really interesting one because when you put it like that, it's just like we are Champions League club for this next season. We are on the up. The opportunities are high. This is a key project. Man United on a weird disarray where it's just like, what project in a weird way, like question mark. It could be the money situation. It is what it is sometimes. These players, extra bags in their pockets, they will go to that club, etc. But also, I think this could be something else in here that none of us are really speaking out and saying out loud. But I think when you compare the two managers, right, both different managers, but one has a philosophy of playing. And I think, obviously, you know, despite them spiraling, he's sticking with his philosophy. And I think we know this manager, Man United's manager, Amorim, he does have credentials in his back pocket. We know that. And I think there is a bit of bigger sell there, maybe, in terms of like who's managing you, of like going forward in that kind of sense. So I think there's an element to it. People will agree or disagree or not. And I'm not necessarily saying that Howe is a terrible man. I'm not saying that, but I'm just thinking about, you know, players like to play for managers with different philosophies when it comes to the game of football. And I think Cunha and Bremo are thinking about, yeah, I want to be part of this philosophy. I want to be part of this build. I want to, you know, even though they're not having Champions League and such, it's an interesting one.
And I'm not having this nub rubbish because let's be honest. Eddie Howe, we know is target market Prem proven players, so he would want these players, yeah, and they've rejected it, plain and simple.
But the point is, though, as well, I know we're going to start jumping around a little bit more about the topic around like who we should buy and who we should go for, but I think it goes back to that thing of like, do not be trapped blindsided by the fact that we have to look just in our Premier League for players. There are so many great players out there that are across the seas that you could get for half the price.
Our best players never played in the Premier. Look at Tonali, look at Isak,
exactly.
look at Botman.
I'm really hoping that we do get you know, it doesn't have to be all players are from across overseas coming into the league and stuff, but I'm hoping we get one or two who are just like some real surprise signings that can come in. Because despite the fallout with Paul Mitchell, Eddie Howe, there's no doubt Paul Mitchell has laid out a blueprint of like, this is how you strategize and go for the window, and this is how the players you should be going for of targets. Whether they've taken this target list into hand or not, is to be seen still, because I'm seeing some weird ass tweets about DCL once again, and I'm like, for goodness sake, man, let's just get off that.
Like William said, our first signing, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Can you imagine?
They're saying that, oh, he'll be on a free and he can play across.
And that's the thing.
No, because it's just not. It's
Jefferson
not,
will attest to this. We've had people trying to justify Calvert-Lewin coming into our club. Like, you cannot justify that. You cannot justify that. But Jefferson, what's your thoughts on the Bremo thing anyway?
Yeah, I mean, you guys touched on Amorim. I think AC is correct. Amorim is a better manager than Eddie, and I think, you know, when you've won 2 league titles, and also a cup, and that's with a smaller team, and then you've progressed in Europe where you've smashed Man City 4-1. They've beaten Spurs. They knocked Arsenal out of the Europa League the season before. People have seen what this guy can do. So yes, he hasn't given the best account of himself in the Premier League due out of his own stubbornness, but the caliber of manager can't be questioned. You know, he's a continental level manager, and thereby you're then going to have a lot of pull compared to Eddie, and that counts for something. I also think there's something there about the whole issues with the structure of the club means we're then not going to be ambitious, because we need to be able to contest and offer a certain amount of wages to actually be bold, be brave, be ambitious, to break that wage structure that we have. Because as a byproduct of adding quality, that means the cost has to go up. I think the problem is now, this was Eddie's bread and butter, i.e. the best of the rest. Who are the best attackers or players in the Premier League outside the top 6? Well, we didn't get Cunha, we didn't get Delap, and now we've not gotten Mbeumo. So it really is scraping the barrel now. Who's left?
Who's left?
Who's it going to be? Elanga? Can you justify 50 million on Elanga? The only one I would say, all right, I'd go for it is if we paid 70 or 80 million on Eze. I don't think anybody would begrudge that because he can play left centre midfield to give, competition for Joe Linton. He can arguably play left wing forward, but is that what we need? But he can play number 10 if we change the formation. The other one maybe is a Morgan Gibbs-White, because not only can he give you cover in central midfield, he can actually play right wing. But again, we're scraping the barrel here. We knew that the likes of Cunha, Delap, and now we've seen Mbeumo had some of the best GA stats in the Premier League. So these are the players we need to be going for. Unless there's a curveball where, I don't know, maybe we go for a Clivert or something, or a Ivan Nilsson or something. I don't know, just something really random. So that's what worries me, that the Premier League proven, which is Eddie's bread and butter, the best are going now.
Yeah.
So who are you then going to go for? Because I've heard that we were linked. I know it's not an attacking transfer, but I heard we were linked to some Coventry centre midfielder.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Is it Radoni or whatever his name is? Then you got William, as William said, Tyler Diblin. Southampton were asking for 26 million. I don't know what it is now. They've been relegated. Maybe they've lowered the fee. But we're going into a Champions League campaign. So as a byproduct, you then have to add quality. Now, don't get me wrong. We may end up with a Madueke if Chelsea offload him. Would I be screaming from the rooftops? No, but in my opinion, it's an improvement on
still
Murphy.
a good signing, isn't it? Yeah.
But the issue is there's that disappointment where, again, we're in a position where we've got momentum to improve and we've not taken it. Why? Because whether people like it or not, it's happened again. He sabotaged us in terms of having that power grab. All you had to do was give Mitchell a chance, just one window to show him what he could do. I'm really worried about the coming weeks now.
Just see a few comments. Scanter said to me, "Oh, first signing got to be a statement." Yeah, D man, I still stand by it. It does. But knowing this club, the first signing is going to be Wilson's extension or a youth player through the door. That's how our club works. But I think we still will get some quality through the door. We just can't leave it too long, man. I would like to see some players come in before the June 30th deadline. But William said a good point. When does this club move quickly in any window? Good point.
Only time that happens is when we first kicked on with the takeover.
Yeah, when our survival depended on it.
we saw like Trippier coming in.
Shook us up.
Yeah,
Trippier, Bruno came on. So
PSR shook us up.
I don't know, man. It's just a really interesting point. Going back to what Jefferson was saying, that Mbeumo going to Man United, Delap going to Chelsea, Cunha going to Man United as well. It's just like these are the crop of the players, or the highlight players that are available to buy. There's not many more good players left in that kind of batch that you can buy through who are Premier League proven. And don't get me wrong, obviously all three of us are in this panel that we don't have to go for Premier League proven. It's just a nonsense narrative. It's just like, yes, it could be advantage. They can get up and running quite quickly, but geez, man, you're buying professional footballers. They can kick ball. Like, go elsewhere and get your players
pull another Tonali out the bag, another Bruno, another Isak. Nixon. We've got to trust Nixon to do his thing in it, not Eddie Howe. But
I think I did see some other thing about some other players looking at. I can't remember. There's a guy from Bayer Leverkusen, I think we were looking at as well. There's obviously you take it with a pinch of salt of like names floating around and such, but it's going to be interesting. But in traditional Newcastle sense, it's just like, bro, don't put your house on it. Just like I don't know, man. I don't feel hopeful between now and June the 30th. I don't see anything giving me, and I think, to be honest, we talk about the last pod, but Mitchell leaving, man, was definitely such not good taste in our mouths right now as we're approaching this window. It's
poor timing.
It's just not. It just gives me zero sense of hope. It really does.
Double D said, AC, you're giving way too much credit to Man United. It's all about the Wonga. Team season asks Jefferson, what do you think of the ex-Real Madrid commercial and income manager being our new CEO? I saw the links about that. He's in consideration.
I saw that as well. Craig Oates reporting on it.
He did a good job with the renovation, isn't it, of the Bernabeu stadium, and they've had lots of good sponsorship, haven't they? It's a shame we can't get their director of football because the signings they've been able to make, when you look at Valverde, was like 12 million, Camavinga 22 million. You know, they've had some cheap buys.
Yeah. William said, how constantly saying we are looking at a very small pool of players. That worries me. We are so tied to the way Howe wants to play. We need more skill. And that's interesting. The makeup of the player that we get is going to be very telling. If you get some more athletes, man, I'm not really here for it.
Can I come back to that point a second? You see the point William is made, that joins very well together with what AC was talking about earlier. Because what is our philosophy? And that's the director of football's job, not the head coach's job. So the idea should be is the director of football sets the framework around what our culture is and the philosophy. And then obviously the head coach might say, oh, I need a player with this amount of attributes. So I need a fast player. Can you find me a fast player? And then they should bring a shortlist. Can anyone tell me what our identity is or philosophy other than high intensity press? Probably 70% of the teams in the Premier League play with a high intensity press. What else do we do? What is our philosophy?
I will say this though, and I think there was glimpses toward the end of this season, the last season, shall I say, is that you can start to see new formation developing. And this is when I said, oh, you know what, I'm really hopeful that we do buy a good number 10 with technical ability, because we need to get to a point where we can start, you know, unlocking those teams who are going to low block, because we're going to face a lot of teams this next coming season where teams are going to low block like hell because they're going to look at Newcastle as quite a big threat and such. And I think we have to adapt our way of playing. And I know we've spoken about this a long time ago, but you said, you know, there's only so much how far you can get with the formation of 4-3-3. It can only last so long, right? Don't get me wrong. I saw PSG pull it off in some miracle wax ways, boy, but that's another story for another day. But I'm hopeful though that like Howe was trying to evolutionize and being like, right, we're gonna adapt our game a little bit and start playing with different ways. But
I hope we took notes from Saturday's game, bro. I really do. I really do.
I saw the funny tweet. Someone said that like someone said like Howe's watching it with the sound off. I was like, it's funny, man.
But yeah, Scat said, how in charge, what pull have you got abroad? And the thing is, I don't think Eddie Howe had to put abroad, but we've got Steve Nixon, the guy that got the Brunos, Tonali, the Botmans, the Isak, you know what I mean? So don't worry, Howe doesn't need to have to put abroad. He just needs to listen to Nixon and get it done. That's
but remember though that hasn't Eddie, he's assumed it's like a temporary role, isn't it, as director of football as well, isn't it? Interim.
But I think they're saying that that's what
he's
no, but yeah, but what they said is that he's
him, isn't it?
He's doing the same thing that he did previously. So we get, remember when he first come in and we didn't have that director of football, him and Nixon were working together on the transfers. So I think that's what it's gone back to again. So don't get me wrong, the fact that he's won the trophy and took top 4 gives us a bit more say in it. But Nixon's talent ID, like AC said, should get us enough quality to come in. Different kind of quality, if I'm saying. But again, my worry is, you know, they're gonna take 3-4 months to start anyway. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know. We'll see. We've got agents, a stack is still available.
Newcastle.
Yeah, Joan Garcia heading to Barca. Again, I said last week, Mama Dash really vibes. Yeah, the same thing again. You know what I mean? Repeat. Yeah,
that really annoyed me actually. Because I was a fool. Part of me got attached to the Garcia move. I was like, this could work, you know, low key, and there was like a good price as well. Release clauses, it fitted the bill. Everything fitted our bill perfectly. Cheap, the age, the potential. I was just like, very good shot stopper. I was like, like, but
was that agent driven?
I don't know. It did. Reflecting it a little bit, it does feel a bit agent driven, but at the same time, though, the profile just matches us so well. But what was interesting, all of the Newcastle journalists and such was just quiet as a mouse. Like nothing was said, nothing, not even a slight report about it at all.
To be fair, a couple of them towards the end tried to say there was interest in there. Then it obviously when he had the Barca, like, no, we weren't interested. Yeah. because a couple that did try to say towards the end, yeah, there's interest in there. We haven't made any bid, but there's interest there. Listen, we're getting Trafford. We're getting Trafford, and I believe that we'll get Trafford, but Pope will be our number one next season, and Trafford's going to learn
Eddie's
from him.
obsessed with him.
I
He
heard
wants to keep the group together.
I heard
He
Trafford's
wants to
already
keep the group
agreed.
together.
Apparently.
The personal terms are agreed, apparently from January, but it's about a fee and stuff like that. And Burnley are looking at another keeper now. I think they're looking at Matt Target as part of the deal. Who knows?
So I heard as well. I was like, oh, if we can offload Matt Target, boy, I'll take this.
Yeah, let's read through some of these comments anyway. So Adrian said maybe the purse strings aren't as loose as we hoped. We'll see. Time will tell. William said my crazy take. Go and try and get Pulisic from AC will never happen, but he'd raise the awareness of the NFC over here in the US. Interesting point. Smokey's niece says, where are we going to find a right winger who scores 20 plus goals and 8 assists? I don't think we will. I don't think we will. But even if you can get, 10 goals and 8 assists, that would be good. On top of what Murphy can deliver. I don't know. Just somebody. I don't know. Maybe 15 goals and 8 assists. I don't know. Scans, long summer ahead for your boys by the sound of it. Yeah, we'll see.
Same every summer, man.
Team season, D-man, I don't think we have a plan. It's by who Eddie Howe wants. I'm gutted. This club won't trust a man to run his club, and Eddie Howe can just manage because right now we are South Korea. Kim Jong Howe. Yeah.
It's like an emperor.
It does look like he's ruling with the iron fist. And again, we have to see who comes through the door, right? But I just want to see some quality come through the door, because otherwise, if it's another summer like last summer, we're not pulling off the same miracle that we did this summer, this season.
Fan base deserve it as well, though, man. Fan base deserve it. It's just like it's not as if like, oh, we put a player last summer. Like nothing happened for windows now, so it's just like something's got to give, man.
Where's the sponsorship deals?
Well, this is it.
Bro, this is don't know, man. Don't know.
We just have to sit back and hope and hope. I'm refreshing my Twitter feed every 5 seconds, thinking, look what we got. Get something in it.
Well, I was saying it might be similar to, you remember when we just popped up with Isak because we were so desperate.
Yeah.
I put in the chat, could we maybe, because apparently Frankfurt won 85 million for Ekitike. And remember that we scouted Ekitike for ages at Roms, and we were going to sign him money, and then until his agent fucked us off, basically.
But
could it be a desperate situation where he might go there? We might go for it, Eddie.
From Chelsea on him, and you know Chelsea throw money at him. The London, to go from Paris to London, this brother will jump at the chance.
Can they? I heard they're trying to get rid of Nkunku, but Nkunku doesn't even start for them, does he? So can they guarantee him first team football? I guess Madueke would have to leave unless he starts above Jackson.
I forgot about Nkunku, man. Such a waste.
Yeah, Nkunku, and I think if they get offers for Jackson, I think they'll let Jackson go as well.
Wow.
But we'll see. Smokey's niche. I never enjoyed transfer windows. You and me both, mate. You and me both. Yeah, it's always a long thing. It's always long.
We need a dodgy guy, like as crap as Big Sam was. At least he could pull off a transfer, same as Harry Redknapp, innit? We need them dodgy old guys, innit? That just like, yeah. Bung them some cash, innit?
But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I think that pretty much wraps up most of the stuff that we wanted to talk about. Before we leave, we do have one last announcement to make. So it's not just Paul Mitchell that flung a spanner in the works and he's leaving Newcastle. We've got another one. So it's with regret we've got to say goodbye to AC. This is his last pod. He's moving on to pastures new. Yeah, AC, I don't know if you want to say a few words.
Yeah, so I'm making an exit like Paul Mitchell. I'm joking. Yeah, so not easy thing to say really, or to announce, or even to share to the group here. But it's something that's been, spoke with D-Man and Jefferson a while ago about it and such. And it's mainly because just changes in personal life and that. Some changes going on in my family and stuff like that, and things going through. And also it's that classic thing where in life, man, sometimes you just got to pivot and do different things. And, you know, unfortunately, nothing quite lasts forever in that kind of sense. But at the same time, William says AC Ashworth. But at the same time, it's one of those things where, you know, I have to always, you got to look at how special this was at the same time. You know, just to give a bit of history here is that the three of us were on Twitter talking about Newcastle and that, bump each other. Like D-Man, I've been speaking to D-Man for quite a hot minute now on Twitter. And I still can't remember how it even happened. And we were just like chatting and this and that. And I was just like, this guy's on the same wavelength as me. And he supposed Newcastle. What? And Jefferson as well. And then we were like, okay. And then we had a little DM group talking about stuff. And then two together, they were like, let's just do a podcast. And we just flew with the idea. And that was that, man. And then here we are, man, like 59 episodes later. And I just want to say that, you know, this is more than 60 hours worth of content here, probably like 65 in total. Because like even like today, we run over at the moment, it's an hour and 40 minutes, you know, it's just a long episode. But yeah, man, a really special moment and such. And yeah, podcasting's not easy, man. That's one thing I will say. And I think a lot of people forget what it is to sit here and to talk about a topic and to talk about a particular subject and to prepare and such. And even though it looks like we're just three of us sitting here just chatting shit and just kicking it, you know, it's not that at all. It's a lot of hard work. And I think people sometimes discredit that and they think easy to look at people talking like this and just criticize and such. But at the same time, it's like you're talking about three people here who really put their soul into it, but also supported this Newcastle club for quite a long time and therefore have good experience talking about Newcastle as a topic and that. And, you know, the season as well, the highs, the lows, it's all love, man. And I think I just want to give a shout out to everyone who tunes into this podcast and supports it. And I just want to say as well, you know, part of me thinks it's like, you know, just because I also leave the podcast, I don't think it'll be the end of 90s Mags, and I think it will continue. So D-Man and Jefferson at the helm here, you guys are in good hands still as well, you know. And yeah, I think this, you know, I can continue on, man, but I feel like I will just like fill in the blanks there a little bit more. But all in fairness, man, it's been a pleasure.
No, to big up AC, man. Just want to say thanks for all your contributions, man. You know, you're the man behind the scenes. For those who don't know, he puts all the lovely graphics together. You know, the placeholder gets sent out. That's all AC. You know, he's our tech guy as well.
Shorts.
The music for the shorts as well. Getting all the content put out. That's all AC, man. So you know, your contribution is invaluable. And you know, like you said, the way we all hooked up and, you know, got together, started talking about Newcastle in the DMs, you know, before we brought it to the podcast, to the masses and that. Yeah, man. And obviously, this is, you know, we're friends anyway. You're not going anywhere.
That's exactly. Just to say, I'm still going to be on Twitter or X, if you, as you call it, that will still be about. And for me, you know, things come in the future and stuff. I still do my little things here and there. Maybe I don't want to get too much into it now, but just to say, podcasting, doing this podcast here is something that was special for me, but also in the past, I've done other podcasting around music and such as well. Give a little plug here that I've got a music podcast called Studio Funk, if you want to check it out. Focus on soul and funk music. So I'm a big aficionado for that. But yeah, I'm gonna be about, man. I'm still here. I'm still supporting Newcastle. It's the thing. It's not as if like my support for the club has stopped. It continues through pain. Yeah, so I'll still be on the sidelines watching us gonna sign DCL. No, I'm joking. But
watching me and Jefferson go at it every week.
I still support it, you know. And I just want to say, like, obviously wishing Jefferson and D-Man all the best going forward with this. But like I said to everyone, the listeners here, you're in good hands anyway.
But yeah, big up AC, big up. Like AC said, you know, we will continue, myself and Jefferson. Slightly different format, but you know, we will be about. But yeah, like you can see from the comments from Williams, Gantz, Team Season, Adrian, Double D, everyone, you know, all appreciate you and everything that you give it to the podcast, and you will be missed. You will be missed. So big up, man. Big up yourself. So yeah.
You're OG. No one will be able to take that away from you, man. And listen, you know I'm gonna keep pecking at you over the calendar year. Maybe once or twice. We're gonna have a surprise special appearance. Everyone just like, what? AC's come on, like, this ain't the last of you, boy. But no, honestly, like, people don't realize as well. I think really, even though like we were in the group together, like you made us, you were like, guys, we talk so much sense. We have to do a podcast. We just have to. And the story spun from there because I remember we were going through like, what should we call ourselves? And I remember D-Man, you know, you helped conceptualize a name. Yeah, it's been a journey. You think it's been just under a year in terms of what we achieved, and you've been there with us through the whole bumpy ride. It's been a roller coaster, and just know that, you know, you're an OG. No one will ever, you know, take your place in terms of, you know, the originals. So just know, yeah, with a heavy heart, we say goodbye.
And to answer your question, Adrian, yes, AZ did choose the outro music, so you got him to thank for that as well. Yeah. But yeah, Mikey P as well. Yeah, you'll be missed
Look at this,
as well.
man. Your fans,
Yeah.
AC.
Did it, man?
I know.
You see this? You see this, bro?
It's sour, man. It is sour.
Keep putting the guilt trip on, guys. Keep putting the guilt trip on.
It's hard, man. It's hard. It's really hard. I don't know, man. It's hard. Who knows? There might be a special occasion. I just turn up, a special guest or something. But yeah, but obviously, I'm still supporting this club, innit? I won't stop now, so I'll be there. Looking forward to Champions League next season.
Yeah. Man.
Look, I look forward to our Champions League draw. I think that's quite soon, isn't it? Is it in? It's in June.
August. It's August.
August.
Yeah.
It's long, man.
But maybe we can get to a game together, all three of us, man. Get to a game together at some point. You know what I mean? So, you know,
yeah, I know. I do want to go St. James's. I haven't been for a hot minute.
All sorts
I see the team. I'm quite consistent, actually. I think I see them play most seasons, but obviously they have to come down south. But yeah. That's my little cheat code, isn't it? Come down south, I see you, but I need to go to Newcastle still.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave it there. Thank you all for joining. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, share with your people. To be available on the audio, the Apple Podcast and Spotify as well. But yeah, for myself,
just before we go, we've got to say thank you to everyone as well who has supported this channel. There's been people that have been here from day one as well. So shout out to you guys. And obviously we continue to grow, we continue to keep moving, but thanks everybody for all your support, because we know in terms of the actual fan base, we're a bit of an outlier because we say things as they are here. We do not hold back, and that won't change either. You know, we're very authentic. So thanks everyone for supporting us, even though we're the black sheep, literally. But yeah, love to you all, and see you all next season.
All right, we're out. Peace.
All right, in a bit, people. Take care.